I'm sorry, so sorry that I was such a fool. I didn't know love could be so cruel. Oh, 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 yes. You tell me are part of being young, but I don't right the wrong that's been done. I'm sorry, so sorry. Please accept my apology, but love is blind, and I was too blind to see. Oh, 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 yes. You tell me mistakes are part of being young, but I don't right the wrong that's been done. Oh, 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 yes. I'm sorry, so sorry. Please accept my apology, but love was blind, and I was too blind to see.
Very proud of your driving license. Well, Jill hasn't got hers yet, and it's a bit of a sore point, you know, with old Jill. She thinks you've stolen a march on her. Well, indeed you have. I think it's a good idea about this aeroplane business. I wish we could do the same sort of thing over here. Talking about quiet towns, though, my Uncle Bob said that everything was very, very quiet over there, and he was amazed. He looked at a pint of beer and he said, "Oh, I wonder how much that is in ounces." And not having been back in this country for about 40 years, he was really amazed when he walked into a pub and could order a pint of beer without a local inspector tapping him on the shoulder asking him for his identity card. At any rate, as Jill said, he was very, very glad to get back. Sue's looking very, very well. She's just had her hair done, and she's very busy, as no doubt you know, with the arranging of flowers, and she's now the vice president of the local Women's Institute, which is some big thing, again, as you know. Fred, all this work you're doing, and Mabel, fancy saying bloody on a tape. It's disgusting, you know, Mabel, really. This really is. I'm sure that, Fred, you're doing a grand job over there, boy, and with those two women around you, boy, it won't be very long before you're making the beds as well. All the very, very best from me. I'd like to see if I can get Mark up here again. Mark, come here, boy. This is my son and heir. What have you been doing today, Mark? You don't know? Have you been helping Grampy with picking up the potatoes?
Yes.
And what about that lovely pussycat? Do you like her?
Yes.
Would you like a pussycat?
Yes.
A white one or a green one?
A green one.
You like a green one, would you? I thought you'd like a green one. There you are. Helen wants a pussycat, but would you like a big dog instead?
No.
You don't want a big dog?
No.
What about those puffer trains?
Yes.
You like a puffer train. Can't you say anything else but this monosyllabic yes?
Yes, Papa.
You're well done.
Isn't it? Well, we came down here this morning by train, and of course they're always thrilled to go on a train or bus. I sometimes think it's a mistake to have a car with children, because these seem much to prefer to go on a bus to go in the car. It hasn't been very nice today. Well, we've had a couple of heavyish showers, but we haven't, I don't know about you taking the English weather with you. I think you really must have done, because this month we've had no rain at all. We've had a heat wave the whole time. It's been wonderful. Temperature's been not as hot as you, but quite hot enough for us, up to sort of early 70s anyway. And the children have been like yours, running about with hardly anything on. In fact, once or twice we've had to put things on them, more to protect them from the sun than anything. We've had a nasty smack. This hot weather has melted a bit of our ash-felt roof, and we've discovered that the boards underneath in one place have gone. And we're going to have have it off, stripped and redone, and it'll cost approximately £40 to £50, about $150 I suppose, which may seem chicken feed to you, but having just moved, it's not to us. However, in spite of that, we're determined to have our holiday, and we heard today that they confirmed our booking, so we're all right for that. So roll on August the 4th. When's your birthday, Helen? August the what? The 2nd?
August the 9th.
Oh, it isn't. Now sit down nice and tell me. When are you going to school? Next term? Are you a baby?
No, I don't think it's
Why not?
You stop with you because
Well, if you stop with me, you're going to have to work a lot harder than you do at the moment. You're a lazy beast, aren't you, at the moment?
I'm not a lady.
Well, what about all those dollies? What were they doing in your bedroom this morning?
You might have had a feeling, Mama.
They were ill, were they? What was wrong with them?
One's got tonsillitis, and the others are very well.
They're very well. But how many dollies did you have lying on the floor this morning?
About 6.
Yes, I think there were 6, and they all had their own pillows, didn't they?
Yes,
And their own blankets, and you had your nurse's apron on.
yes,
And are they going to get better soon?
no,
Oh dear. Oh, it's not a very good hospital, is it?
no.
No. Well, I think we better think about going home now, because it's getting quite late. Say goodbye to everybody. Say goodbye. Say goodbye, Auntie Joan. Say goodbye, Auntie Joan. Come on. Come on. Come on. You can go and see Nana for a few minutes. You needn't go home yet, but say it nicely. Quick.
Bye-bye.
Auntie Joan.
Bye-bye, Auntie Joan.
Oh, you sound like Christopher did when he went to bed. You're not going to Gwizzle, surely? Yes. Well, you're going to have a treat in store, because I'm going to drive you home. A sort of stunned looks appeared on her face. There's a terrific wait for driving tests, Joan. Did you have to take a test? Or can you just sort of drive when you feel like it? If I apply for mine now, I don't suppose I should get my test now much before November. Which means I probably have a nice thick fog or icy roads or something. Never mind. You might make it a bit easier then. Well, we must go home.
No.
Yes, we must.
Oh,
Yes, I'm going to play golf tomorrow.
yes.
Daddy's got the boys coming in the morning. Oh, that's a lovely drawing. Well done. The pussy's hungry. What have you given the pussy to eat?
Bye.
You didn't. What did you give him to eat?
Bye. Yes.
Is your pussy hungry?
Yes. Rally.
Really? Say bye-bye, Auntie Joan.
Bye-bye, Auntie Joan.
That was Mark. Well, bye-bye all of you, and we'll hope to do something on the next tape, or this one if it hasn't gone next time we come home.
Give him cucumber.
You give him what?
Cucumber.
Cucumber.
Power for both Canada and the United States. A dense, hot, low cloud of fog had delayed the Royal Yacht's progress up the seaway, and the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh arrived at the American end of the dam nearly 3.5 hours late. They were welcomed there by Vice President Nixon and by the Governor of New York State, Mr. Nelson Rockefeller. With the Vice President, the Queen stepped onto the international borderline to unveil a monument on the dam 70 feet above the seaway. In her speech, the Queen said she hoped the international cooperation shown in the power project might prove infectious, that it might bring the day a little closer when all nations would turn away from the fortifications of fear to work together in the ways of peace. France has joined Italy in calling for a meeting of Western foreign ministers, with Italy represented, to be held in Geneva before the East-West Conference resumes. In London, a Foreign Office spokesman said that the proposal for a Geneva meeting would no doubt be considered as a matter of urgency and in a sympathetic way. Christine Truman, the number 1 seed, is out of the women's singles at Wimbledon. She was beaten in straight sets by the unseeded 24-year-old Mexican player, Yola Ramirez, 6-3, 6-2. Beverly Flights of America, the 3rd seed, lost in 3 sets to Edda Budin, the German-born player who's now stateless. But Britain's number 2 seed, Angela Mortimer, and Anne Hayden got through. The others to reach the last 8 are Darlene Hard and Sally Moore of America, Sandra Reynolds of South Africa, and Maria Bueno of Brazil. Britain's lone survivor in the men's singles is Bobby Wilson, the number 4 seed. The other quarter-finalists are Olmedo and McKay of America, Ayala of Chile, Fraser, Laver and Emerson of Australia, and the French player Molinari, who beat Malloy. The printing dispute. The British Federation of Master Printers say that they want to make it clear that at no time have the employers insisted on any particular form of arbitration. They are ready to accept any agreed procedure, for example, an industry commission, and they would abide by the results if the unions would do the same. The General Secretary of the Printing and Kindred Trades Federation, Mr. Eastwood, has repeated that the employer should meet the unions across the table and try by direct negotiation to reach a satisfactory settlement within the industry. Firemen tonight were still trying to put out the fire on the British cargo ship Staniel, beached this afternoon on the Suffolk coast near Pakefield Holiday Camp. Police cleared beaches in the area in case she blew up, but a fire brigade spokesman said tonight that there didn't seem any danger now of her fuel tanks exploding. Fire broke out in the 600-ton vessel when she was 3 miles off Aldborough. She was carrying a cargo of straw. All but 2 of her crew were safely taken off. The mate and the boatswain stayed behind to help firemen from ashore with their gear, but eventually they too had to leave. The 20-year-old heiress, Catherine Dowsett, and 27-year-old Edward Langley have given notice of their intention to marry at the registrar's office in Creetown, Kirkcudbrightshire. The couple originally eloped to Scotland in May. Later, a High Court judge ordered Miss Dowsett to return to her father's house in Lincolnshire. He directed that she and Mr. Langley must not see or communicate with each other. If they did, it would be contempt of court. The Greyhound Derby at the White City in London tonight was won by the favourite, Mile Bush Pride, owned by Mr. Noel Purvis. Snubnose was second, and Crazy Paracute third. There was a photo finish for the first 3 places. Tomorrow's weather, it will be cloudy on the whole, though many places are likely to have at least a few bright or sunny intervals. Showers will again develop with thunderstorms in places. Temperatures are likely to be mostly in the 60s, around the average for late June. That was the news summary.
And that's the end of the programme for this evening, except for the chimes of Big Ben, followed by the national anthem and the shipping forecast on 1500 metres. Well, it's time now to say good night. The night program is closing down until 8:55 tomorrow morning. It begins at 10 minutes to 8. Good night, everyone, wherever you may be listening. Good night.
Well, there you are, Joan and Mick. There's the late news you wanted to hear, and the BBC announcer, and you also had the dogs barking as well. And hello, Mick, and Mabel, and Fred. Did you like the wallpaper we sent, Fred? You should have got it by now. Wally reckons you did. I think that recording was very good, considering you had to re-record it 2 or 3 times. And it was lovely hearing Christopher speaking, especially hearing him say his prayers. Joan, Daddy saw Mummy the other day, and she wants to come up and hear him. I think it would be lovely if she did, because I think it was so nice that you let him include her in the prayers, you know. And it was lovely following that a trip you made to get the license. It must have been quite a journey for you. We just couldn't imagine it unless we had the map and followed you on it. But isn't it lovely to have had the license? We've shown the your menu round to all the customers in the bar, and really made their mouths water. Well, as Daddy said, you'll be quite experienced when you do come back home, and you carry on this one for us and introduce a nice lot of new drinks. But aren't the licensing laws strict out there? We were amazed. I can quite understand you, Mick, feeling that you really can't leave the place because there's so much to sort of cope with. I mean, you could easily lose your license if you served somebody who was sort of on the blacklist. And then again, you see, it was very nice of you to offer to let Joan come with the children, and oh dear, we do think it would be lovely, but we think it's such a long time for you. Right. Well, I was a little bit wiped out here, Joan, which is just as well as I can say a few bits of up-to-date news. That's what I mean, you see, the news gets so stale, doesn't it? It was 4 months ago when Jill and Dan started this tape, and I've just got a little while to fill in this gap until Mrs. Moore's daughter comes on, Irene, to talk to Mabel and Freddie. Since we started this tape, we've dropped the microphone twice, so I hope the voices don't sound quite so rusty. I went to the air terminal on Saturday night to see young Corinne back. You know, I told you she'd been staying here for a few months, and I don't think she really wanted to go back, but of course her mummy was looking forward to her going back because she was so, really missed her so much, and Linda had gone away to college.
Hello Mabel, Fred, Michael, Joan and family. Well, I hope you're keeping well. We're all well here in England. I'm Eilene Racky. Do you recognise me? Well, Mum and Dad are up our house with Mr. Baker, trying to make me talk. Sounds awful. Glenn's just gone back from a leave. He's been Mediterranean cruising for about 6 or 8 weeks. He's just bought a new motorboat, like Michael had the craze. Yvonne has started work, and she works at Crompton's, doing scale drawing. Not very keen in the factory, but, you know, it's a job like. I saw some lovely photographs over Mrs. Baker's of the children. You must be very proud of them. Don't know what to say now. By the way, Frank works with Alice's son-in-law, Jim Fleming, at the Crown Works. Get on very well together. Couple of mates, that's what they say. Glenn is a wine steward on the P&O line, and he's doing very well for himself. And I expect you realise he's nearly 20 and Yvonne's nearly 16. Makes you feel an old woman now. You remember the Dowsett family from Michael family? Well, Betty Dowsett is married now, got a little boy too. And she lives down the bottom of the garden here, right at the bottom of my garden. Looks ever so well, and they're very happy. I'm still working for my living. You know, the old man sends me out, like we used to. And I work at a new restaurant now. It's a new place opened up Springfield Road. Used to be Curry's old grocery shop. And a friend of mine's got a partnership in it. So I'm the one in charge now, you know, like old Bruce Forsyth. But, you know, it's all work and no play, isn't it? What do you do? Nothing?
Hello, Mabel, Fred, Joan, Michael, and the children. Flo speaking, Flo Moore from Oxford Avenue, as was. Of course, you know, we've moved from there now. We're up in Eileen's house now with Mr. Baker. Just having a word to say to you. Hoping you're all keeping well. I'm feeling much better since I spoke to you last. I've been away for a fortnight's holiday. I went to the Cripples. Do you remember the brother and sister-in-law that used to come to Oxford Avenue to stay? Ledbury, Herefordshire. I went there for a fortnight, Albert and I. We had quite a nice time. Went out a few days with the buses and on a tour with the coach. The weather was very bad the first week. Rain, thunder, lightning, and we were trying to go to different places, but we failed owing to the weather. But the second week was lovely. So we had quite a nice week. And it was fine, but the first week was miserable. But still, I didn't mind, as long as I was home like. It was like home. I could do as I like, come in when I like, go out when I like, rest if I wanted to. Albert is keeping well? No. Yeah.
Hello, Fred, Michael, Mabel and Joan, and the children. I hope you are all well.